if I outpace everyone in this call, then what's the point of it? In my head, I didn't say this to the group, but like, what's the point of the call? Like, if I'm the only one talking to customers on this call, then like, we don't need meetings. You just do what I say.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Hypercontext. We're your hosts, Graham McCarthy, CTO and co-founder of Soapbox. With me, as always, is Brendan McEachran, CEO and co-founder of the company. Brendan, what are we doing today?
Good show, I think. We're going to go through weeklies. I've changed some things up from last time. I think the spoiler alert is like, in general, I'm grumpy. Graham and team experienced a little bit of that earlier today.
Grumpy.
We got some tweets, some LinkedIn shares that we shared in the past a little bit. We get to ask each other about, understand what the heck's behind them. And then a couple topics from what we learned in the past week, what we do differently.
It's going to be a meaty show. This is episode 6. Let's get started.
Okay, so one of the things I did, I was like, all I care about now is this, right? So let's just focus on that. So I made that clear.
And what is that?
Double MRR. That's it. Okay. I care about signups.
Mm-hmm.
I care about monthly active users. I care about this. I care about that. I care about that. But like really, over the next 3 months, we're going to be judged on revenue growth. We're always judged on revenue growth, but sometimes you layer in efficiency of revenue growth. You layer in like some of these other things, and those layers either matter more or matter less. And I think they're going to matter less for us. So I know that it's stressing me out. You know that it's stressing you out.
Yeah.
And I think our job is to make sure that the team feels that same level of urgency that we're feeling. So I wanted to do something that like just for the next couple of months, like the only thing I care about is this one thing. And I don't think I did a great job of it, but like at least it's a step in the right direction.
I think it was a Band-Aid that you ripped off. Mm-hmm. But I think what was helpful about that is then I had one-on-ones with my team to talk about that goal. So I said, hey, Brennan mentioned this, that we're now solely focused on MRR.
Yeah.
Let me get your initial feels on what you think, how that affects you, what you're doing, are you doing the right things, and then we talked about focus. So I think it was actually helpful because just started conversations for me.
Yeah. I think one of the things the YC partner said that resonated was like, we get credit for everything we do up until demo day, and we don't necessarily get the same credit after demo day. And I think we've been so much in like operations mode that things like efficiency matter to us, things like unit economics matter to us, and they still will, and they always will. But I think we're in a like reality distortion field temporarily, and so right now they matter significantly less. So let's just call a spade and pick the thing that matters the most. I don't know what do you call this? It's in trash land. The one thing we decided to care about a lot.
Yeah, it's just
sucks.
Yeah, it's in flatland.
It's in flatland.
It is. It's flat. It's been flat for now 5 weeks, 6 weeks. Has it been flat since the start of the show?
I mean, no, it's been flat from when? From when? I finished fundraising.
Yeah.
I finished fundraising, and started working on all of the chaotic legal that like spit out from that, and hiring. Because I thought
it sounds like if you're not pushing, we don't grow.
Well, I thought we had, we went through this whole thing, and I thought we were gearing up for long-term thinking effectively. And so a couple blips wouldn't necessarily matter to like do some setup work. So we did the setup work, which, ultimately, and like, in fairness, part of the setup work was like applying for YC.
Yeah.
And that did take time. Like we spent time practicing dumb questions that were never asked.
Yeah. Before YC, I guess it was really just setting up for long-term success. So you're hiring out a big team, working on like good decks that kind of show the team the long tail vision. And now we've said, because of YC, which is a great motivator, double MRR, go now.
Yeah, and that's not horribly off from what we wanted to do.
No.
It
just increases the time frames and forces the focus on near-term thinking. Because you're right, anything after demo day doesn't really matter. We lose out on the opportunity.
Yeah. So I think the answer is like, this actually went down. And not only did it go down, but it went down in like some of our reporting around it with our tools that we pay money for, which is bad. And I think this is the first time where we're like, I want to spend a lot of time diving into these numbers specifically this one line item, and it was just wrong. Like I kept digging into it, and the more I dug into it, I was like, this is just wrong. This data is just wrong. It just doesn't add up.
We're using 3 different tools, and none of them are reporting the proper growth and churn amounts.
Stripe is wrong.
Yeah.
According to our definition of like what MRR should be.
Yeah, and I think if everyone is wrong, then it's probably us. There's something we're doing that isn't correct, and it's more like, okay, do we spend the time fixing that problem, or is there something else we should be focusing on now to get higher, like more people top of funnel? So that's also the challenge that I think we're facing.
I was annoyed in general at this line, and like the fact that in order for this line not to move,
zoom in more, zoom into the line even more.
Okay, I will.
Is it as max as you can go? I understand if it is. Look at that line.
The general thing is like at this stage of product market fit, it's not necessarily hard. It's just hard work. And so what's great about that is you can scale hard work. Hard work scales with people. This is like what every startup dreams of: raise money, hire people, and then like, oh yeah, hey, we're successful. That doesn't mean it becomes easy. It just means you add people who do hard work. So in this moment of time, I was like, okay, everyone just go and talk to like, I think you've said in the past, like 4 users or 40 users or something like that. But if you just talk to like a handful of users and ask them what they find confusing and bad about your product, like you're going to get enough out of that to just fix those problems, and everything's going to get better, and then you move on to the next thing. Calls with customers went down across the board. And so I was like, I can't wait any longer. And so now I have 8 customer calls tomorrow and like 6 of them. There's a group of people on this call, and I was just kind of annoyed that like, if I outpace everyone in this call, then what's the point of in my head, I didn't say this to the group, but like, what's the point of the call? Like, if I'm the only one talking to customers on this call, then like, we don't need meetings. You just do what I say.
Yep.
Sorry, and that was like part of my rant. Hold on, I'll give it back to you. I didn't go that deep.
I think you did enough to cause the team to reflect and think, oh yeah, Brendan has 8 meetings tomorrow with customers, but I'm in charge of product. I should be talking to customers, or the marketing people. I should be talking to customers from a marketing perspective. So I think what you did was just remind them that, like, oh yeah, it's my job to do this. So I have to actually talk to customers directly versus be a fly on the wall for Brendan's calls or watch Brendan's videos afterwards. I think they were getting, I don't want to say lazy, because it's more like they're doing work. They're always working, and it's great. But I think they forgot the importance of actually being on the call, asking your questions, and having you hear the answers directly versus like watching a video. They're relying on you too much. I think that was the point of today.
It's easy to say, oh yeah, add me to that call.
Exactly, yeah. And then it's like, great, now Soapbox is spending 2 people's resources on this one call. Great, versus having 2 calls, which would then get double hopefully the value if you're both energizing the customer and making them feel like they're heard.
Data can only tell you so much. And who are you building the product for? Right? Like, are you building the product for... Not building for exactly. You're not building it for the people who churned out. You're not building it for the people who didn't get retained. You're not building it for the superstar people who utilize like full brain activity and discovered your app. Like, talk to someone who's never heard of this app before. Tell them to share their screen. And ask them if, on the goodness of their heart, they will onboard onto your own product while you watch. That's your one question on a customer development interview if you're a product person, and do that 5 times. I guarantee you will fix 80% of your onboarding issues, right? I did the same thing with like marketing. Like, I say, hey, here's a tweet. Let's pretend this tweet goes viral. And you click the Soapbox icon and you're now on our Twitter page. What do you think we do? Are you interested? They don't know what we do, and they're not interested. When we think about the scale that our app can have, it's not the segment that's currently using it. This is like, these are the people we're just burning and churning in order to figure it out. So we better learn and figure it out. Whatever. Oh my God, Graham, this is like the biggest rant that I can't get off.
I know.
I get a good rant. I'm so annoyed by it, though.
I know. We're talking to customers, and we are, and I think it's just a constant reminder to always be talking to your customers, because that's how you build good product and maintain the product market fit orbit.
Here's the thing. This chart looks great. Right. How do you feel?
Oh, I mean, it's fine. It's fine. I feel okay about it. And there's a couple dips in there which we basically say they're based on holidays. Yeah. So I'm not too worried. This one isn't coming back as fast as it did for the like winter holiday. It is going to plateau next week based on the weekly active user number. But I'm not too worried yet, just because I want to get the features kind of built out and fix up some of the core problems before we start to really blow this up. And then active customers, it's not the right slope of a line. It is going up. Like, this is an all-time high for us, but
Yep.
it's not
Not
moving
what we
at
wanna
the pace we want. Yeah. So we have ways to go and lots to improve.
Lots of stuff coming out. Whatever. Okay.
Yeah. Cool. That was the metrics.
Marketing metrics rant. Done. I'll check it off. I'll get my confetti hit. All right, let's jump into some of your tweets.
Okay.
Dev tooling.
Oh, yeah.
In
Yes,
this context, in this world, dev tooling is also helpful. Why?
Yeah, for sure. So, in light of everything we just talked about in terms of making MRR and solely focusing on growing MRR, it's hard for us to talk about a dev tooling tweet that is not related to us growing MRR, but it kind of is.
Yeah.
So I guess we started a project with our good friends over at Stack.io. They do DevOps as a service. We have been working on them to modernize our internal dev tooling because it's just so old. We've had some stuff that's been around for the last 5 years. Tech has changed.
Yeah.
Some of our engineers now have M1 Max, and so that chipset doesn't work with the architecture of VagrantBox, of VirtualBox.
Yeah.
So we have to upgrade, and it's something we've pushed off and pushed as far as we can, but now we have to deal with it. So this is one thing, if I go back in time, constantly upgrade your dev
Just keep
tooling,
them up
because
to
it is
date.
helpful to keep it up to date, and then you don't have to get into a situation where we are now, where basically if it wasn't for the new Macs coming out and our devs not being able to work, we wouldn't have made it a priority, but now we have to, and we've been forced into it at a time where I really don't want to deal with it. So we're now going to spend some money because we can't afford to do it ourselves. We have to just outsource it to some other company to do the work. Luckily, Stack.io, great company that we've worked with, we trust them. They're going to do a good job of it.
It's very easy to just never update anything. And in fact, there's a little bit of a short-term gain because you're like, well, it's already working, so don't update it because then it won't break, and then I'll still be able to chip away here and there. In my 20 minutes between a meeting, I can maybe do a little tweak or whatever. Fix a bug for a customer or whatever. What's nice about this theoretically is, hey, this could be a one line. I mean, I doubt it's gonna be one line, but one line in the terminal, boom, and I'm back up and running again. Versus a full day of dev setup, which I just can't justify spending a day mucking around.
Yeah, and it won't work. To be honest, our old setup, there's so many points of failure. There's so many dependencies to just get our infrastructure on your computer.
Yeah.
And if you want everything, getting the main web app and the main API up and running is super easy because that's the main thing everyone's using.
Yeah.
But if you add our Slack bot, our Microsoft Teams experience,
it's going to take
there's
forever.
no way you're getting that up and running. So fixing a bug can take you days.
And it'll be so slow on my computer. We've done a much better job on the frameworks.
Yeah,
I would say.
Framework-wise, the code that's what we build, the test case coverage, all that stuff is very modern and very sleek and nice. It's more just the way we provision a box. Yeah, the way we get our code up and running. We've kind of bashed out some scripts over the years, and now they're just not working with the modern tech. So I wish there was just one code you write in, that's it. Everyone writes in the same thing. And there's no dev dependencies, it's just you write one language to rule them all,
I'm okay with languages. I don't care about switching from PHP to JavaScript to Python to whatever. I don't really care about the language because that's just a thing. They're all the same. I mean,
they're all the same. That's the problem.
It's like talking in Latin-based languages. It's Spanish and Portuguese and Italian. Sure.
Yeah.
They are different languages. And +1 problems exist in all languages, and you solve them in the exact same way.
I think it's just the mindset of an engineer is that they want to build something new. So I'm going to build a new language that's going to be better than your old language. Or I'm going to write this new feature and not deal with the tech debt that I'm accruing. I'm going to just blow it all away and start fresh. I think it
comes with that. I don't think that's how engineers are programmed. I think that's how people are programmed.
Right.
Okay, so we are doing a renovation to our house. This is analogies on analogies right now.
I know, seriously.
Right?
2 steps removed.
Yeah.
I love it.
So we're analogy calculus. So we are doing a renovation on our house. And part of that, we are watching renovation shows or whatever. And this is making sure we don't, run into common issues. Yeah, for the most part, I think when you watch these things, the construction workers that are in there, they're listen, we can fix the termite damage, or we can just tear down the whole house and rebuild the whole house. What would you rather us do? Redo all plumbing in the entire house?
Yeah.
Or, okay, to fix this one thing, we're going to redo all the electrical. it's like the same amount of like mental work because you don't have to solve any problems. You just rip it out and do it all from scratch and don't make the same mistakes that you
Make
see.
new mistakes.
But you make new mistakes. We're saying all of this, but we also agree with your tweet here, which is like modernize your dev tooling. There's a difference between like building like having your app running COBOL. There is a difference between COBOL and say Go or Rust or like what's a new language like TypeScript. There are obvious differences between those two. The incremental steps wouldn't necessarily have been obvious, probably.
But yeah, no, modernize your tools. It's important to get your stack all up and running with the latest and greatest. And we're going to start using Docker now, which is super exciting. So, all right, that was a long conversation around my tweet. Let's talk about your tweet.
That was a rant. What did I even tweet, Graham?
Trending questions. Tell me about the trending questions. Why'd you do this? Why'd you tweet this?
The long story here is like when product gives us data, I think that we have data. This is a win for me because I think I was like, for a while, I was like, hey, we can use the data to help coach our users, and we don't need engineers to program that for us. We have a lot of this available in the different analytics tool, and we can showcase that and use that and blah, 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 blah in various different ways. And like maybe it takes an editor's look to look at some of these things and spit them out in a newsletter, but I think we should try it. And it's probably the one thing our newsletter subs like the most, which is we just say, hey, based on the data we have, here are questions that are trending up and trending down month over month or week over week. For our news, we have a newsletter that's content focused, and we have a newsletter that's just this. And this gets way more responses. It was just a very successful, very lightweight test that we said we would do one of, and now we've done one every other week for months. Yeah, just trending up and down based on the suggested questions that we have in app. And you can even see here, like Alfred is like such good use of data you have just subscribed. So we have the data, we're sitting on it. We have other data we're sitting on. And when we use data we're sitting on, our users, our customers, the market go, oh, wow, like this is breathing new info into the universe that we otherwise didn't have access to. And that's really helpful and useful and valuable. And so we kind of had this realization. We're like, maybe let's share a couple questions on social. And then we just realized, like, actually, why don't we just share the whole thing on social? And so we've been doing that for the past maybe 2 or 3 newsletters. People sent to like it on social. Makes sense.
So this goes out as a newsletter, then also you tweet it out basically the same day, or do you let the newsletter people have it first and then you tweet it
out? We send it out to the newsletter list, and then I think we send it out.
Oh, yeah. So then, you're providing optionality. Like, people can subscribe and get this to their inbox if they want, but then you don't have to because you do have it. It's ungated to your to just get it.
We just don't send the other stuff. So
cool. Yeah, I would call this kind of your no-brainer hack to as a marketing initiative, because we have the data. Literally, we have millions of records in our systems that we surface to the team through one of our analytics platforms. So you guys can grab this data real quick, and then you're just giving it back to the users who put the data in to begin with. So it's like no-brainer. But it's also like a secret sauce because many people think that
you can't copy this content.
Yeah, you have to have the data to do this. Yeah, and that's cool. Yeah, and you guys are doing a good job, and that's a good idea for you to do this.
Well, I think this is actually more like a product idea, right? Like, I mean, this is something that we look at and we go, oh, like.
I mean, I'll take the credit. Bank. Sure.
Well, no, I mean, like in our item bank, we're like, let's have trending questions in there, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's like, all right, can we validate that in a way? And the other thing that we have on here, which isn't in here, is down below we feature a manager who's like saying their favorite question and why they think it's their favorite question. And literally, like, people are like, when they get featured, they're very proud of it. Like, they're like, they forward it around to people who are like, hey, look, I'm in that thing that we like. Or like one of their friends sees their face. They're like, dude, I didn't know you use this. So it's a little bit of like a community builder as well, which I think is interesting.
And that goes out to the whole mailing list?
Goes the whole mailing list.
Yeah, that's like a
newsletter list. Yeah.
People will see that, so that's definitely a piece of accomplishment for those managers.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Awesome. Successfully manage employee leaving. There's like a million different ways an employee can leave.
There's lots of ways, like you said, an employee can leave. Many different ways: good terms, bad terms.
Sure.
Yeah. We Soapbox, we have cultural values of treat all relationships long term, and I think our employees do try to live up to this when they leave. And we are supportive of people leaving the company. So it's not a bad thing for someone to leave. If they don't want to be there, you shouldn't try to keep them there. They should go somewhere else. And ideally, because we build an app that really any company can use, if they can take that app with them, have their company buy that app, they are not dead to us. They become zombies where our product lives on forever and that relationship keeps going.
Yeah, we joke when people leave. We say, "Okay, cool, you're dead to us," but they're not actually dead to us.
They're not dead to us. I was gonna say it sounds harsher. It sounds harsher than it actually is, saying you're dead to us. But at Soapbox, people seem to they're okay with the term. They're not like upset about it. I mean, there was one guy that didn't want to be dead to us, Simon.
Oh,
he really didn't want to be dead to us.
I talked to him today. He knows he's digging himself a deeper grave as the months roll on.
And because I know Simon can take it,
yeah, he gets it the most.
He gets it the most. So he's the one who's really dead to us because I know it makes him, it bothers him. So I'm really just trolling the guy.
It's a term of endearment. But one of the things we did, I think, is really good, and I think people should steal from us, is we had a talk with people, which we called like the all in, all out talk, right? And I think this is actually like a Jeff Bezos, they're an Amazon thing, where it's like, I think on Amazon's birthday, they'll pay you money to quit or something like that, which seems like a little bit flippant. Yeah. But, there's some people that are really important to our business, and we just said, hey, we want to invest in you for this next period of time. In order for us to make that investment, we need you to be all in. If you're not all in, that's okay.
Yep.
Let's spend effort getting you a higher paid job elsewhere.
Yeah. I think that conversation was super helpful because by saying that it's okay if you want to leave because we want people who want to be in this for the long haul wasn't diminishing what they'd accomplished with us or what they'd done for the company. It's more like recognizing you did great. We're on a new phase of our life and we want people who want to be here for 4 years. So this is a great moment for you to leave if you want to leave.
That's not a conversation you have with someone you want to leave. I'll say that. Like, it's not like we wanted these people to leave. These were conversations we had with people we didn't want to leave. In a way. Yeah.
It definitely wasn't pushing them out. Like, I want to keep everyone at Soapbox because they're all great people. That's why they've been hired. I just want to give them the opportunity to say, this is a really good time to leave if you're thinking about it, because I want people who want to be in for the next 4-year journey. So with this one employee, they are an engineering manager, so they do have employees who look up to them and need them to do their day-to-day job. And so when they let me know they were leaving, we worked on, there wasn't a time frame at that point, which is great. That's a lot of trust that they had in me to say, hey, I'm thinking of moving. I'm thinking of moving on to a different company. I love everything I've done at Soapbox, but I want to get more bigger company experience or whatever they were thinking. And so I think what we did was, I didn't just say, okay, well, you're out tomorrow because you didn't want to be here. It wasn't that. It was like, great, while you're looking, let's work that into the schedule so you have time to do the interviews and it doesn't affect your day-to-day work.
Yeah.
And then let's get your team. Let's obviously not tell anyone yet until it is finalized and you have a date. But at least let's get the leadership in place so we can do the quick transition later on. Make sure the projects you're working on do wrap up before you leave, and make sure you don't start anything new that's critical. And so I think we did that throughout the approach. So when they did announce they have a specific day they want to leave on, I was very comfortable with it. It could have been a week earlier. I would have been fine with that too. We told the team, we told them saying, hey, this person's leaving. Obviously, there's a shock of a person is leaving, the person who I've looked up to for the last couple of years. But then because we had the succession in place already, and we already had started to do some of those overlap meetings, so the team saw that, it's not a big deal because I already have this other engineering manager who can step in and do this project.
But you're exactly right. You had to prove three things, I think, decisively well with this individual. One is psychological safety, that this person felt safe enough to be honest with you and when you were talking to them and asking those questions. That's not hard to do. That takes every interaction you've ever had with this person in order to build up towards that.
Yeah.
But psychological safety, which by the way is the number one indicator at Google of high performing teams. So second thing is effort. You had to make it really, really low effort to share with you about that. And then I think the way you did is you just brought it up. You don't have to bring that to me. I'll bring it to you.
I'll bring it up. Yeah. I'll ask you directly the question. Do you want to be here?
And
if the answer is not an immediate yes, or even if, and I actually also gave everyone the weekend. I said to them on a Friday, and I said, take the weekend, really reflect if you want to be here, and it's okay if you don't.
Yeah.
And then on Monday is when I was told.
And you did those two things. I think it was really brave. You said, this is a serious question. Think about it. Yep. I remember you telling me, and I was like, I'm nervous. Right? I'm nervous about if both of them are out, then okay, we really got to figure out a plan here. Right? I remember being nervous.
I could have lost all of our senior leaders in that moment. And because I set up the stage to say, if you want to leave, now is a good time to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again,
But
it was better for them, both of them, to leave at that moment, right? Like, really, if we had to do it, that would have been the right moment for both of them to leave. Not that we wanted them to leave at all, either of them. And then the other thing you had to do is you had to, over the course of the past couple of years, I think we both have worked hard on this, is make sure that there is enough benefit to be honest, right? Mm-hmm. Because we believe we made it psychologically safe. We believe we've made it low effort. But we're only going to, in that moment, get the results that we want from that conversation if there is benefit to doing it. And this is, I think, where a lot of people fall flat. They are really easy to talk to, and they're really safe, and they don't judge and all that stuff. But what's the point? Why share? I believe we've worked really hard. I think there is a significantly larger than average benefit of leaving on great terms with us to get you a better, higher paid job at the company you want, within 30 days. Like, we've caused the good effect. You can cause the other effect, right? Like, you can cause the effect of, like, someone leaves and they leave, and dead to us isn't like a joke in a way.
That's where they burn a bridge. Yeah.
You burn the bridge, or we burn the bridge, or whatever, and other employees watch. They all have secret or not so secret DM groups, Slack channels, group messages where they share their side of the story, right? Mm-hmm. And if your side of the story is not consistent with their side of the story, they're going to trust their friends. Of course they should, right? There's nothing wrong with them doing that, regardless of not if it's a lie. The only way for people to do this, I think, is for those stories to be consistently, like, you get good reviews in those group chats, right?
Yeah. We have the really good stories, and then we have some that probably aren't as good because we were learning as managers on how we have these types of relationships. And sometimes even you're put in a situation where you don't even want to make it. Like, if you have to let someone go, that's hard. It's harder to do. It's not like a proactive, I'm leaving on these terms because I want to find this other job and I have Soapbox as the safety net while I'm looking, versus I have to let you go because of financial reasons. So we're going to try to help you get a job, but you also have to interview well. You have to. But
it's also COVID and no one's hiring.
Oh man, yeah, no, that's right. Yeah, I think we did the best we could in that situation, but yeah, that was rough.
All right, signing off on episode 6 of Meta-Context, the show where we give you the context on us. It's pretty meta. What was your favorite part of the show? I don't know. What was the most valuable thing for you? What was the most valuable thing for you?
The most valuable thing for me was actually going through the metrics this time. I thought I enjoyed the rants. I thought that was super helpful. Hopefully the listeners enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. But I enjoyed it, so I think if I get something out of the show, then it's beneficial.
What you had a rant? Was your rant on metrics or was your rant on?
My rant is about dev tools, but that's fine. I like your rant.
What was my rant about?
Your rant was on just
customer
upset
calls?
With the numbers,
I'm
customer
upset
calls,
I'm upset
and the metrics.
I don't know. I think like the fun thing about this show a little bit is like I feel like I end with a little bit more energy than we start with. Like we start, it's like Monday, it just crushed me. Monday beat me hard.
Oh man, we do.
And then
we do this on the Monday. It's like the most grueling day of our business.
Back to back, no breaks.
Back to back meetings.
I haven't eaten anything.
But
today.
You're right. I have more energy now than I started with. So thanks for watching. This has been episode 6 of Meta-Context. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel below, and tune in next week for the next Meta-Context. Bye.
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 Why did we do that, Grant? We both do it. Why did we both do that?
I think our employees started to do it on calls, and I just picked it up. I think it's from it's got to be a reference off something I don't even know.
Instead of doing the like formal ending to calls, we just go, all right, I got to go. Bye.
Bye.
And that gets it all out of the way, and then you hit the hang up button.
Yeah. Sometimes I hit the hang up button before I go bye, and then I hit it
mid bye. That's a 10 out of 10 execution.